Today I'm going to be telling you why schools should provide birth control and sexual education programs for students through middle school, high school, and college. There are many reasons why that is important. By the end of this, my audience will have a better understanding of how teen pregnancies can be prevented and understand why schools providing birth control and sex education for students is beneficial. Although the numbers have decreased for teen pregnancies within the last 10 years, there are still many unwanted pregnancies among teens that could have been easily prevented with birth control. They just either don't have the resources to get it or don't feel comfortable talking to their parents to get it. There are alternatives to things like abortion, which many people are against, such as what I said before. And if it was provided in schools, teens would actually have access to it. Did you know that 3 in 10 teen American girls will get pregnant at least one time before the age of 20? That's almost 750,000 teen pregnancies a year. According to Daily Collagen, statistical data shows that teen pregnancy rates have dropped a great deal throughout the past 2 decades. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services explains that this decline can be attributed to the increased contraceptive use as well as the growing number of teens becoming sexually active. Despite this decline, there are still many teen pregnancies every year, as I mentioned before. If there was an increase of birth control methods in schools, as I said before, there would be a lower number of the teen pregnancies that we still have today. There are many ways as a society as a whole on ways we can help these numbers decline and better educate and make teens safer when it comes to sex and different protection. There are 2 ways to do this, which is by schools providing birth control to students, such as condoms and birth control pills, as well as educational programs or classes. Many teens are uneducated in sex protection, and that's why it's super important that they become educated so that they can prevent getting pregnant when they're too young and still in school and don't have money to raise a kid and would end up giving it up for adoption or having an abortion or just not being able to raise a child as they should. This would also prevent STDs and make them aware of the consequences of unprotected sex and why it's important to keep yourself protected. Many teens are uncomfortable to talk to their parents about sex, so they won't. And this causes lots of problems because they're just uneducated and will still continue to have sex without knowing if they should have protection and where to get it and all that stuff. So that's why being protected and educated is super important. Also, sometimes parents are against birth control methods and just won't provide them to their kids or talk about it ever. However, kids are going to continue to have sex no matter what parents do. So it's important that they just are educated anyway, just to be safe. If schools were able to provide birth control methods for students, they'd be a lot safer than if they didn't have this option, considering they're still going to do what they want. If schools were able to have these programs or were mandatory, there would be a higher education in sex among teens, as well as lower pregnancy rates and less sexually transmitted diseases. It's older people in our generation who have an obligation to keep younger teens safe, and the only way to do this is by educating them and providing them with the necessary tools and resources to do so. Despite what parents think, kids are going to do what they want regardless of the rules set by the parents, so it is better to protect them and educate them on the dangers of unprotected sex than keeping them shelled up and uneducated. I hope that you learned a lot and now realize why it is important for schools to do these things, because this is where every child and teen can get the education that they need.